come on up, or I can bring stuff to you. Here is that paper, and then
You gotta draw.
the clip
You gotta
yours
draw.
as well.
No? You're not drawing?
And then once you're done, I do also have tape, and you can tape it up so we can put it on the forest.
I have no talent for drawing.
Half the people that draw at these things don't.
We're just drawing for it.
You can draw a tree to join our forest. And I do have also some sharpeners if the pencils are not sharp enough for you.
You have to draw them with no leaves.
You can absolutely draw them with no leaves, or you can draw them with leaves. There are some trees that still have leaves right now.
Draw my favorite tree. See if I can draw.
It does not have to be your absolute best work. This is my tree right here. It's beautiful, but okay, that's fair, that's fair. We're just like,
The fact that you have me
Yeah.
drawing is huge.
okay, okay.
And I don't know speech.
That's fair, that's fair.
Yeah,
It looks like
I'm a
a
beginner.
an
Tree that turns into three.
That's,
What
I was
I'm
trying to
looking at
draw
is another one
that
over
big
there.
one.
Oh, perfect. Well, that's a tree that we're gonna learn more about today. So
Okay.
that's a good choice. What type of tree?
Well,
Nice, nice. I like it. Awesome. If you want to add more, you're welcome. Otherwise, if you're like, this is my best work, or this is just how good it's going to get, you can tape it onto our forest. How's it going?
I know it. I can't do
Oh, no, I like it.
this. My favorite tree.
Is your favorite tree? What?
In Schneekly.
Oh, is it the on the green? Oh, is it that sugar maple that almost looks like a cup? I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Single tree that turns into three.
Yes. Hi there, welcome. Okay, so right now we're doing a little activity where we're going to add trees to this little forest. So if you want to draw a tree, you're more than welcome. We've got the materials up here, and the tables are a little bit wet still because you can see the humidity outside. So I do have also clipboards so you don't have to get your paper all wet. Would you like to draw a tree as well? Wonderful.
I got it back.
Oh, thank you.
See? I'm talented.
And there is sharpeners in there. I'm so sorry if you pick a colored pencil that is not sharp. But you can base it off like a favorite tree. You can draw one that you see out in front of you. Just something that you want to add to the forest.
Not a church.
Would you like to take yours up?
Sure, tape it up.
Put it wherever you want on the forest.
On the forest.
On the forest. In the forest. What type of tree are you drawing?
Hold on.
A dead one.
Should we put
Is it dead or has it just lost its leaves for the winter?
I guess it's up for interpretation.
And isn't that what art is? What type of tree are you drawing? A maple. No, you do not have to label it. If you want to, you're welcome to. You do not have to.
Won't really look like one, but that's fine.
I think it's beautiful. Okay, we'll give folks about 2 more minutes to finish up. If you want to keep drawing, I guess you're welcome to, and you can add it at the end. Is it a pine tree? Is it a spruce tree?
The cedar tree.
It's a cedar tree. Is it red cedar or white cedar? And then I have tape here if you would like to tape it up. But it's totally rich. More.
Okay.
We can add it to our forest.
We needed about 30 people for a forest.
Well, that depends on your definition of forest.
I guess.
This is a group of trees. I would call it a forest.
Okay.
Maybe just a little forest. I do have the tape.
Woods.
There you are. Alright, add your finishing touches. Alright, here's a piece of tape for you, and you can add it to the forest. Wonderful. Thank you very much for adding your trees to the forest. So, the reason I had you do this is because the trees and forest of Schmeekley look a lot different today than they did way back 200 years ago. But today, we are going to be talking about one tree that has survived a whole lot throughout that past 200 years. We're going to be talking about a white pine. My name is Em. I am a forest recreation student here at the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. So that is within the forestry discipline, so you know I like talking about trees. And then I am also an environmental education and interpretation certificate, which is why I'm in the practicum class, which is why I'm here with today. Additionally, I am also the recreation coordinator of Schmeekley Reserve. And so I absolutely love Schmeekley. I'm excited to show you a little bit about the trees and forest here. So we are going to go on a walk today. I do just want to warn you, we're going around the trail of reflections. And so if you need to use the restroom at all, there is one there, as well as one in the visitor center. If you get hungry, there is also snacks that you can buy and drinks that you can buy at the visitor center. And our first stop is going to be just down the trail, so if you need to use the restroom or grab anything, now's the time and you can meet us down there. All right, let's head to our first stop. I am going to wait just a little bit for the rest of our group to catch up. Some of them do have strings on it from programs past. There you go. That's a pine cone for you and a pine cone for you. Okay, as you're looking at this pine cone, or maybe at this pine tree, think about how would it taste? Take a moment and then feel free to share. If you ate it, how would it taste? Or what would it taste like?
No idea.
No idea. Yeah, go
Maybe
ahead.
a little bit bitter.
Maybe a little bit bitter. Okay. Anything else? I think it would definitely taste crunchy. Maybe that's more of a texture, but
Yeah, the texture wouldn't be pleasing. It smells a little sweet too.
yeah. Do you think you would enjoy eating it? No? Okay. Do you think you would enjoy eating maybe this? Which is pesto sauce. Or maybe drinking something like this. Or eating something like this. Or these. Or even this. So all of these actually are made with pine trees from various parts of this. This is the these are pine nuts, which are part of those pine cones. And pine trees can be a helpful source of nutrition for both humans and animals alike. So I do actually have a piece of a little something that you can try if you want to. You do not have to. But one thing that is fairly popular, and I know Griffin has had on multiple occasions, is pine needle tea. And so I do have some that I have steeped for a little while if anyone would like to try. I'll just come over with cups, and if you don't want to, you can just say no thank you. Awesome. So I can just hand you a cup right here. There you are. Okay. Thank you. So,
Warm your hands up. Warm your hands up.
I have steeped it for a little bit longer than recommended because I wanted to really get the pine taste for you. So maybe you'll find that this is your new favorite type of tea.
Maybe.
All right, I'm so sorry if you get some needles.
We've had it before out here,
Just don't.
Yep.
Just like eat around them, I guess.
but not
Or drink around them.
probably steeped extra long.
Oh, I don't know, maybe.
Oh, yep, you got some needles.
Are pine nuts and pine nut, they're two varieties of pine nuts, but hard to see.
Oh, I'm not sure. I know that they're that you can harvest them from at least from white pines, and they're kind of hidden within that little.
Ooh, I got a pine needle.
I did too.
You like it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
It's pretty mild.
Yeah, I did find out that the white pine is a little bit more mild compared to the jack pine, which is a tree that we will talk about later. This one is a white pine, and the reason that we can tell is because the needles are in groups of 5, and the needles and buds are something that deer really like to eat, which is why it's in a cage. It's not because the tree is trying to escape, it's because it's more acting like armor for the tree so that the deers don't browse it, which basically just means they're walking around and biting off parts that will end up making the tree not grow as well.
So did you just make this out of pine needles?
I put pine needles in hot water. I did originally put the white pine needles in a little tea bag, but then when it was too mild, then I added jack pine needles to add a little bit more flavor, and so those are just kind of sprinkled in, which is why you probably got some pieces. But pine trees can be an important part of nutrition for both humans as well as animals. So in addition to deer eating pine trees, other things can eat pine trees. So looking at those pine cones that I handed you, what do you think would eat those? Apart, Yep, squirrels, absolutely.
Probably birds.
Birds, yeah. Other things that that typically will eat like nuts, such as chipmunks as well. But yeah, definitely. So those nuts are also important for the trees themselves. So they do help obviously with the reproduction for the trees to make more trees. So it is a super important part of the tree themselves, because pine trees do actually help with lots of different basic needs. So we talked about nutrition. In addition to that, we're also going to talk about shelter, heat, and then in the end we'll talk about livelihood as well. So we're going to head to our next stop, where we're going to talk about shelter. So as we're walking, I invite you to think about, what do you think would make its home using a pine tree? And then if you are done with your cups, I can take them back. And I can just put them in here.
You say 5.
Yep, so I will even hand you a little group that you can look at. This one might not have all 5, but you can see that it's bundled in a group of 5. Yep, if you don't want your pine cone, you can drop it back in the bin, and you can also just put the cup in there as well. Awesome.
I got lots of pine cones at home.
Right. All right, let's head to our next stop. Welcome, welcome. So this is our tree house, and like I said, the center is a white pine. But you also notice that a lot of it's also built up using a lot of construction materials, and white pine is one of the main construction materials still to this day. It has been a pretty large part of the lumber industry for a long time. So if you've ever used a 2x4, odds are it was probably from a white pine, or at least from a pine tree. But if you remember my prompt as we were talking, or as we were going to start walking, I asked you, what do you think would live in or use a white pine as shelter? Did anyone have an answer for that? It's totally fine if you either forgot or just couldn't think. Okay. Well, one thing I have is, of course, humans, because like I said, you're using it as we'll end up using it as lumber. But another one that you might not actually think of is eagles. So white pine tend to be the tallest trees in the canopy. Sometimes they're called super canopy trees because they are towering way above the other trees in that canopy, and eagles absolutely love it. One reason that they love it is because it gives them a great bird's eye view to see all of their food sources below them, or if there's any danger below them as well. It is a little bit slippery now, but if you want to go up there and look from like a bird's eye view, you're more than welcome. Otherwise, I'm going to stay on the ground, and we'll take a second to just think about like what the differences might be for a predator that might be way up there versus one such as like a wolf or other predators that are on the ground. How those points of view might differ. So just take a second and think about what like the advantages would be.
Moves its head around. Just moving that way. When it moves, you can see its tail.
We actually have had eagles even nest in like in Chincouli, because they are, and we also had some owls nest in the white pines at Chincouli Reserve as well. So they are fairly popular nesting places. Are there other reasons that you thought of just now that you might prefer being way up high compared to down on the ground?
Well, a coyote can't beside that tree.
Yeah, definitely. So it is definitely protection would be one of them. I think that's probably the main one, and the other one I did already spoil, of just being able to see also what's down below you so that you can hunt and maybe they might not even see you. So we have talked about shelter. Like I said, we're going to hit food, shelter, and then or nourishment, shelter, and then heat. So the next one that we are going to hit is heat. So as we're walking, I do invite you to think about what would happen if you burned a pine cone. All right. It is a jack pine. So if you remember my question, it was, what do you think will happen if you burn a pine cone? Did anyone think up an answer for that?
You get some heat out of it.
You definitely would get some heat out of it.
I think you get a lot of popping.
Popping, probably.
And snow.
And smoke, yeah.
Smoke.
So, honestly, my answer would be it depends on the pine cone. So the pine cones that I had handed you earlier were from white pines. This one, as Mike had said, this one is a jack pine. So jack pines are within that same family, but it's kind of like a cousin to the white pine. And they have this fun thing called serotinous cones. So I will pass out. These are what, that's what the cone would look like after it's gone through a fire or after it's been heated up. And this is what it looks like before. Here is another one that's like before, so I can start this one over here.
Do they kind of melt?
They do. So they have, so serotinous cones have resin within their little scales, which is why they're closed. And then they heat up and then they'll open. And it's kind of a sign from, for like an adaptation so that during wildfires or during prescribed burns, then they know, hey, the ground is nice and nutritious right now. Maybe there's a lot of extra space. Now might be a really good time to drop some seeds to hopefully reproduce and make more of my species. So that's kind of why they choose to open up their cones, which is a pretty awesome adaptation. Other things that that pine trees are of course great for is us humans as firewood, but fire and isn't the only thing that is good for heat. Other things that that pine trees can help with is also they're really good insulation. So their needles will drop and make a really nice bed of pine straw, and that can act as insulation for the ground. So now that we have talked just very briefly about heat, we've talked about shelter, and we've talked about nutrition, we're now going to head inside and we're going to talk a little bit about how pine trees can help with livelihood and the history of Stevens Point. So as I said before, the forests of Stevens Point and of Wisconsin, Northwoods, have changed a lot over the past hundreds of years. 200 years ago, this is what a white pine would look like, or a pine tree would look like, and this is one that I cut down 2 years ago. This was not in Schmeekley, this was outside of Schmeekley, but you can see just the comparison in the sizes of the average sizes of the time. So we no longer have these massive, massive trees anymore, because when settlers first came here, it really did feel like the forest would never end, that there was an infinite amount of trees this size. And Stevens Point came around because it was a great spot between the Northwoods and the logging, or where those hot spots were that they needed the logs. So Stevens Point became a logging town. They were called the gateway to the Pineries because we've got, of course, that Wisconsin River. Why do you think that having the Wisconsin River nearby would be helpful in terms of pine trees?
The wood?
Yep, floating the wood down the river. So pine trees are also very light, so they can float So that's why those pine trees especially were the ones that were harvested the most. Unfortunately, so in 1856, that was when the Menominee Nation was forced to receive much of their land. So the Northwoods really became extra harvested at that time and past. And so now, because there was not sustainable harvesting happening, they were just taking as much as they could. The settlers were taking as much as they could. Unfortunately, we do not have trees this absolutely massive before anymore. So I do have a picture just to show you for scale, not just the width of them, but also just the absolute size. So this might just look like a normal like tree stand, but then you see the person and you can see just the difference in sizes. So I do have a photo that I can pass around as well. You can see just the size of those trees. Absolutely massive. And lumber from Wisconsin was very, very, very valuable and helped build some of the cities, some of the large cities in the Midwest. Logging camps were also were the real reason why we were able to move so much lumber. So logging camps, like ones in Stevens Point, had a lot of people working very, very hard. They would be crammed into bunkhouses very tightly, lots and lots of people. So this is a photo of what folks would be squished into at the time. This would be their bunkhouse. And I do have a little bit of an exercise. So we have, I have a song first that I'm going to play, because one reason why they were able to work so hard is because they kept their spirits high and they were singing songs. So I found a song called the Lumberjacks Alphabet, and so I have some words that you can try and guess what letters of the what words these letters of the alphabet will fit, and then I will play that song and we'll see if you were right. So feel free to come up and we can brainstorm together what you think these words will end up being in that song. I gave you some hints because I put the number of letters. Ash. Ash. Okay. Axe. Any other guesses? I didn't put all of them. I put some that I thought maybe would be a little bit more obvious.
Water on the bottom?
Water.
No, not enough, the wrong number of letters.
Wood?
Wood or walk?
Yeah.
Sorry, my handwriting might not be the best. I don't have that teacher handwriting yet.
Anchor?
Nature.
Mel.
If you want a second letter, I can give you.
Sawing. I
Okay.
feel like they were sawing.
Question. Do you want a second letter? A. See the wheels turning. Okay, I'm gonna play the song now, and then we'll see.
What? Animal? Animal? Fritz?
B is for boy who can use it also. C is for chopping our work to begin. E is for danger, we always are in. So merry are we. No more on earth is as happy as we. With a gay deary-dum, deary-do, deary-dum. Give a shanty boy right then that nothing goes wrong. E is for echo that proves ring. F is for foreman, the head of our gang. G is for grindstone, at night we do turn. H is for handle.
You were right, it is handle.
I is for iron when we mark our pine. J is for jovial, we on all the time. K is for keen and jar, X is we keep. L is for lice that keep us from sleep.
Remember those close quarters? Yeah.
So merry are we. No more along earth is as happy as we. With a hey deary-dum, deary-do, deary-dum. Give a shanty boy from them that nothing goes wrong. M is for boss when we check our caps. N is for needle when we mend our pants. O is for owl who hoots in the night. E is for mind that we always felt right. Q is for quick that we put ourselves to. R is for river we all belongs to. S is for sleigh that we all belongs on. T is for team that pulls them along. So merry are we. No more along earth is as happy as we. With a hey deary-dum, deary-do, deary-dum. If a shanty boy from them that nothing goes wrong. U is for you since we put ourselves to. V is for valley we all belongs through. W is for wood that we leave in the
Right, it is
spring.
wood.
And that's all the verses that I'm gonna sing.
So I did find that there are definitely multiple versions of this. This was a someone who sings at children's programs, so there are definitely some more colorful words. But so I'm not saying any of your words were wrong. I'm just saying maybe that it wasn't the version that he said. These were all definitely good words. And I loved the working together. So we are going to head to our final stops. Our final stop now. We'll head back just to where we were, just to where we started. If you do need to use the restroom, we are going to walk past it on the way. Arrived back where we started, and thank you so much for coming to my program. As you head on your way today, I do encourage you to think about how the land and the forest has changed a whole lot over the past 200 years. Think about how it will change again in the next 200 years. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.